Welcome back, Pokemon fans. My name is Angel of the Night 091, and today we've got for you a tournament battle from Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, this battle was the 2020 International Challenge for February, dated between February 28th and March 1st. So please note this is an extremely old Wi-Fi battle. I'm going to try to remember as much as possible. So in comes our Corviknight and our Arcanine, while our opponent here, Trevin, has a Whimsicott and a Golurk. Now, interesting fact, I haven't seen very many Golurks in competitive play back in this date range, so it's kind of interesting to see Golurk onto the field. So, as usual, normally you would see like a Tailwinding Whimsicott here, so that's kind of what I'm predicting. I'm going to go in for the Tailwind and a Will-O-Wisp off with my Arcanine here. We want to make contact with that Golurk to further drop its attack stat. Now, with the capability of Dynamaxing in this tournament, Dynamax is coming in with the Golurk. Okay, so Golurk is now Dynamaxed. Its stats are now going to be a bit boosted, so we do have a bit of a concern here, considering that I am at a type disadvantage with that Arcanine. So it looks like the Whimsicott's going to go for the substitute here. A little bit surprised, considering normally they go for the Tailwind or maybe like a Thunder Wave, just because of the Prankster. But substitute is onto the field there now. We have the Tailwind set up for our team, boosting the speed stat of our entire party. In comes the Max Quake, and this is where we're going to be a little bit into a situation. It does make contact with the Arcanine, taking it down to roughly about the 15 hit points, allowing us to survive, getting our Citrus Berry, but unfortunately for us, it is going to boost the special defense of his entire team currently in play. So, at this time, my thought process, I'm thinking about maybe Dynamaxing my Corviknight, or going through with an attack onto either Whimsicott or Golurk. So, at this time, I have selected the Dynamax, maybe going into the Whimsicott to maybe take it into a lower stat category for hit points. But you know what? I back out, go and select a normal attack, and we're going to go in for an attack with the Arcanine here. Preferably maybe like a Heat Wave. Okay, there is the Tailwind coming from the Whimsicott. I've actually got a Safeguard on my Arcanine, so that's actually what I chose, versus the Heat Wave. Not really that effective. The Corviknight has gone in for the attack onto the Golurk, not doing very much damage, and unfortunately our Arcanine is left open again for another Max Quake. Okay, so unfortunately for us, it is going to get a special defense boost onto the Whimsicott as well as the Golurk, and we are going to lose our Arcanine here. But you know what? That's okay. We've got two other Pokemon here. We've got our Mimikyu and our Gastrodon. So we're actually going to go in with our Gastrodon here. Now, if you guys have battled me with a Gastrodon before, I usually do have the Stockpile Recover configuration. You guys can tell I'm a part of, computer techs everywhere as I do computer work. Configuration on my Gastrodon. I do have Stockpile. So I'm debating right now versus the Stockpile and the Dynamax. Dynamax, of course, is the better play here. Gonna go for that Max Geyser onto that Golurk. We want to try to get as much damage off on that Golurk as possible. However, we do have to take into consideration as well that it has two special defense boosts on his entire team. So that's going to be a bit of a problem here. So Dynamax Gastrodon coming into play. And quite the giant slug. Okay, he still has his Whimsicott under his substitute here. Whimsicott is actually going to go for the Cotton Spore, and the Cotton Spore is not going to be effective on the Corviknight due to the mirror armor, but it is going to make contact with our Gastrodon, lowering its speed stat. In comes the Brave Bird from my Corviknight into the Whimsicott, and hoping that that is actually going to take out the substitute here, because let's be honest, it's super effective. Luckily, we are able to take that out. In comes the Max Knuckle. Max Knuckle is going to make contact with the Corviknight, and of course, in this situation here, it is actually going to boost the attack stat on both of my opponent's Pokemon. That's going to be a bit of a concern, of course, if he decides to go for Max Knuckle again next turn, if I can't get the Max Geyser to take out this Golurk. Unfortunately, we are not capable of one-hit knocking it out due to the fact that it does have special defense boosts. Now, his turn for Dynamax has run out. He has had 3 turns with Dynamax, of course, going back into the regular Golurk, hoping that the boosts would maybe drop a bit. We're going to go in for the attack with the Corviknight there yet again to the Whimsicott, hoping to take out Whimsicott. But we are going to go for that Max Geyser again onto that Golurk, hoping to take it out. Come on. Gastrodon. But you know what? This Endeavor from the Whimsicott comes into play. Not doing very much damage. Does get a little bit of the Rocky Helmet chip damage. And there's the Brave Bird coming into the Whimsicott, taking it down. So luckily we are able to pair up this battle 1-1. And in comes that Drain Punch with that Golurk, taking my Corviknight down into 20 hit points. Of course, regaining some health back to that Golurk. But he is going to lose a little bit of health as well because of the Rocky Helmet. In comes the Max Geyser. Please, please, please let this take out this Golurk, because I feel like Golurk at this point is going to be a problem further down the road. Luckily, we take it out. We are now 2 versus 1 for points here. Luckily, we still have our Corviknight as well as our Gastrodon. So in comes the Gengar. Not an unusual Pokemon to see. Neither is Togekiss, but you know what? They are paired together. Never really usually see these two paired together. I don't know why. At this time, I'm debating between either setting up another Tailwind or maybe going in for the attack. At this time, I'm thinking probably a Tailwind is a good idea, but I go for the Iron Head because I want to try to get this Togekiss taken out. At this time, I believe I'm forgetting about the Safeguard. Because quite frankly, Togekiss can do flinching, especially if it has that Air Slash. He has gone for the Dazzling Gleam here, hitting both my Pokemon, able to take out my Corviknight. Now, Corviknight, of course, it was down into 20 hit points. If it had a little bit more HP than that, it probably would have survived. In comes the Max Geyser, making contact with that Gengar, and luckily for Gengar, it actually has a Focus Sash, so it's able to survive a hit. I'm going to regain a little bit of health there with my lefties. And you know what? My Tailwind has petered out. And in comes my Mimikyu. Now, Mimikyu, at this time, I was debating between the Wood Hammer versus having maybe Shadow Sneak or Shadow Claw. Usually I go for the Play Rough, Shadow Sneak, and a Wood Hammer here. But I decided to opt out and use a Shadow Claw onto him. So we are now debating on what the best option is here. We definitely want to get that Gengar out, so we are going to go with the Shadow Sneak. When it comes to my Gastrodon here, the only real options that I have here are either Stockpile, Recover, or my Scald, because really that Earth Power is not going to make any kind of a contact with that Togekiss. Here we go, we've got the Shadow Sneak taking down the Gengar. Now we are 3 Pokemon down on our opponent's side, and in comes the Air Slash. Now Air Slash, of course, is able to make a hit with the Gastrodon, not going to flinch me because I do have a Safeguard up. We get the Stockpile 1, and there's our defense boost and our special defense as well, allowing us to maybe survive another hit later on if need be. Now our Safeguard is now down, of course. The flinching may be able to resume here. We still have the Disguise onto our Mimikyu here, so I'm debating on if maybe I want to go for the Swords Dance or the Play Rough. Looks like I have opted into a Play Rough here. Thinking about maybe going for a Stockpile again onto the Gastrodon, but you know what, I back out. All the way back to Mimikyu, we are going to go for that Swords Dance because we still have our Disguise up here. At this time, we get the Swords Dance up. That is going to actually raise our attack stat with our Mimikyu, which is probably a good idea here, especially when we're up against a Togekiss. In comes the Dazzling Gleam, of course, breaking the decoy, the disguise with that Mimikyu, making us vulnerable to our next attack. In comes the Scald, of course, the only play that I can really do with Gastrodon at this point. Not much options for any other move with Gastrodon, of course, other than Stockpile and Recover. We get our leftovers again here, raising our hit points back up. And now we have the opportunity to attack that Togekiss. So we are going to go in with the Play Rough. We are also going to go in with the Scald. Okay, here we go with the Play Rough. Play Rough is going to make direct contact with that Togekiss and knock it out, giving us the win. So if you guys enjoyed the battle there today, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Be sure to post your comments in the comments section below. And if you enjoy the video, let me know so that way we'll continue on with this series. Have a fantastic day and take care. Peace.